The numbers told the story. They always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on beIN.
July the 15th be with you on a Wednesday morning. Welcome on into a numbers game. Dustin Swedelson in for Gil Alexander this week. That is Kelley Bydlon. He is always here. Appreciate you hanging out with us in the AM, however you may be tuning in. Sirius XM channel 158, YouTube TV, the Visa Watch app, and radio affiliates across the United States of God bless America. You know, Kelley, people say this is the slowest day in the sports calendar. Did you know that?
I heard that on Monday, so that can't be true.
What's this whole week?
It's really this whole week. I was hearing it on Monday, and I was like, well, what about like when we get to like Thursday?
Well, and this is the week where the people who matter take vacation, like Gil.
That's right.
That's why you're stuck with me today. But here's why I began the show with that. And I know our audience does not love this topic. They do not love when there's nothing going on that people lean into the LeBron discussion. But if you were going to get the most attention for what you were trying to do in LeBron James and declare his next team, his final team for one last ride, wouldn't today be the day that he would choose to announce his next team?
Man, maybe. I don't know, but I don't think you want to do that when everybody knows it's a slower news day. It's like vacation time of the year, right? Like, this is a reason why like new TV shows, right? The seasons start in the fall when everybody's back at school. I don't know. I don't know what LeBron's going to do.
No one knows.
I also like that you brought this up at the top of the show yesterday, and then we didn't talk about it for 3 hours.
We will. Don't worry. Trust me. Today we will, my friend. We'll also settle the debate. Is LeBron James better than Michael Jordan? I'm just kidding. We are not going to do that. I promise that
please
ever
don't. Yeah.
here on VSiN. By the way, half the World Cup final is set. The other half will be finalized tonight. We'll know who's going to take on Spain. We'll be all over it with England and Argentina. Also, two great write-ups over at VSiN.com. Alex Blowers, Nigel Seeley. I'll have some excerpts that I liked from those articles later on in the program. We'll talk with Christopher Sullivan, former U.S. men's national team player, about that matchup. Alex Blowers will join us at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
We're going to do a little NBA with Nick Whalen because I think if you're going to take anything out of the NBA Summer League, it's that this is a very interesting group of rookies coming into this year, and one of them continues to go off. And if we're going to bet situations, I think continuously over and over again, Caleb Wilson feels like a guy just based on the number, based on the role, based on where he is, he might be the guy to look at.
I cannot argue with you on that, Dustin. I have a feeling you're going to hear more and more of that as we get closer and closer to the season. Because, yeah, he's showed enough, as much as he's needed to show in Summer League to get into that conversation. I think you could include Darius Acuff in that as well. I just think it's going to be a great Rookie of the Year race.
He had 19, 8, and 3 in 24 minutes last night. I know like the competition's not all that great, but he's a dog, and he didn't play a lot of basketball last year, so there's not a lot of tread on the tires, or a lot of mileage on the tires, I should say. Also, we have ACC Media Days kicking off down in North Carolina this week, and they start today. And a team that is going to be there answering questions, talking to the media, I believe has the player that is going to be bet number one of the college football season. I will see if I can convince Kelley that this player is the best play on the board to win the Heisman. That later on in the program. We'll preview the British Open.
Is it Florida State's quarterback?
No, it is not Ashton Daniels.
Really? It's not Florida State's quarterback.
It is not Ashton. Their third quarterback in 3 years.
My Noles don't have a Heisman contender this year. Okay.
You may not have a head coach before the end of the year. So I would be less worried about the quarterback situation, more worried about who's going to take over next year. Man. British Open, we're going to be all over it. Yes. Kelley's going to help me because Kelley's figuring out his bets. He's finalized here for the most part. I need to have 3 outrights, 3 top 20s. That's what I'm looking at. I've gotten too cute lately, Kelley, where it's like, I'll do 5 outrights, and I just feel like that's dangerous territory and not enough top 20. So I'll pick your brain about what we're going to do there. But we begin with what went down yesterday. And last night, in case you missed it, in case you're just waking up, the All-Star game. Boy, was that a dud.
Yeah.
Looked like we were going to get some runs early.
Sweet pitching.
4-0, the American League is victorious. And, you know, I like the over. I didn't ultimately bet the over. But in the first inning, when Christopher Sanchez pitching at home was in a lot of trouble, I was like, oh, man, I can't believe I didn't bet this over. We're going to have like 15 runs tonight. We end up with a 4-0 game. The AL wins plus $1.10. The under 8.5 cashes. And it's just kind of funny. The AL only has 5 teams above 500 right now, and they win this game. They're on a 12-1 run in the All-Star game, which that makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's the best players from both leagues. If they're on a 12-1 run, Your MVP, though, is Cody Bellinger. Why? Well, he drove in 2 in the first. And Ben Rice also drove in a run. Miguel Vargas added a solo shot from the White Sox. Bellinger becomes the 4th New York Yankee to win the MVP award. Giancarlo Stanton did it back in 2022. Mariano Rivera in 2013. Derek Jeter back in 2000. But it was an ugly pitching duel, mostly for the AL pitchers being awesome. But 10th shutout in All-Star game history, the first time since 2013 at Citi Field. The AL allowed 3 hits. They tied for the second fewest in an All-Star game by either team, and the fewest since 3 in the 2013 by the American League. The AL was the first team to ever throw 15-plus strikeout shutout in an All-Star game. And Bellinger's odds, that's the question we have, Kelley. I saw your text. Me and Danny were trying to figure this out earlier. And I'm led to believe,
right?
I'm led to believe none of your favorite content creators went on a victory lap yesterday, because I searched Twitter every which way to find out what his odds were. It wasn't even on the page of graphics we had up yesterday.
Which means 30 to 1 or longer.
Yeah, which listed like 15, 20 guys. So that's how deep down the board. No one was making the case for Cody Bellinger.
Hey, we said find a long shot you love.
But that's why the strategy, now my strategy ended up being stupid, because some of these guys did get 2 at-bats that were position players, but I went with all the catchers in a backup role, and that didn't work out in the end. There was a scary situation. I'm not sure if you saw this, and there was a chance I opened this show crying in a way that no one's ever cried on VSiN before. Junior Caminero, his only at-bat, takes one off the hand. He hits the deck. Luckily, x-rays were negative. He says he's going to play on Friday for Tampa Bay. But when you were out a few weeks ago, I gave him out 40 to 1 for AL MVP on this show. I actually also boosted that up because I parlayed with the U.S. to beat Bosnia and some random UFC fight where the guy was minus 550. I got it up to 69 to 1. God. So it's like, if I would have lost him on the All-Star game, where O'Brien for the Cardinals is in just throwing cheddar up and in, and it gets away from him, I would have lost my freaking mind on this show today.
It was still the biggest moment of the game, right?
Yeah, that was.
Despite x-rays being negative, that was the biggest moment of the game. It was wild, and I was thinking about you the whole time. I was like, oh, man, this does not look good. The way he went down, too, right? Like, it was... I don't know that he was confident those x-rays were going to be negative.
No, he ran right off the field.
Yeah, I mean, he was down for a while and then went right into the tunnel.
There wasn't even a conversation. Hey, you're going to stay in the game? You're going to try? Nope. I came here and it was not to do this and get hurt. We need to find out right now if I'm okay. Because, I mean, who's going to stand there the whole game, like shaking your hand, wondering in a meaningless exhibition, am I okay? Am I going to be good for the rest of the season? That's the best record in the American League right there, the Tampa Bay Rays.
That was one of those pitches, too, where I'm like, how does anybody get out of the way? Like these guys that actually are able to fall and get out of the way sometimes with these pitches, like, it's incredible.
I'll go a step further. How does anyone hit a baseball?
How does anybody hit a baseball? There you go.
Because to the point where you can't get your hand out of the way in time of a ball coming up and in, it just goes to show you it's so much like reaction, because the scientific studies have shown your eye doesn't actually follow the ball. It's projecting where it thinks it's going to be, and your body hopes to time and match where it is. It's not, people go, oh, keep your head down, keep your eye on the ball. Yes, theoretically, but you're really not watching the ball all the way in. Like you're doing a guessing game. And I think that kind of proves it. But 4-0, the AL with the win. And I got to tell you, I wanted it to be interesting and I wanted it to be exciting. I was not really excited by that.
Well, I think the two big takeaways for me from a betting standpoint, it was, well, what's the status of Caminero going to be, right? Yep. X-ray's negative, says he's going to return Friday. We'll see, I guess. But good news if you are a ticket holder like you are. And then, I mean, you know, I kind of dismissed it yesterday and have for years. It's not really a game that I like to that I usually bet at all, right? Side or total, not usually something I'd mess around with. I think you had a good angle with longer shot MVPs. But do we hit a point where this trend becomes so ridiculous with the American League, whether that's next year, whether that's in a couple of years, where it just starts getting baked into the price a bit?
I don't know. I just, because I think the number's based on the roster.
I mean, it should be.
It's not like the same guys every season.
It should, but like, you know, there's going to be people just regurgitating that trend year after year until it goes away or starts to go away.
I mean, I'd be curious to find out how many times in this 12-1 run were the AL underdogs. So you can add up the plus money over time. Doesn't sound like much, but plus 110 last night. If it was plus 110 on all of these, you know what I mean? Think about what that does in the long run if you wind up winning. Speaking of winning, we know who's going to be in the World Cup final. And one half is Spain. And I thought what we saw yesterday where they won 2-0, that paid 17 to 1, by the way, Spain winning 2-0 over France. I just, there was a lot for us to learn as people who aren't really soccer guys. That's what stood out to me, because France was the better team. France is more athletic. I shouldn't say better team, more talented team. They're more athletic. They have more goal scorers, but Spain's not about that. The more I dove into what Spain does, their infrastructure, the way that they play together as a unit, they're really not a fancy team when it comes to like jumping off the page with the athletic ability, but they manipulate, they control the game, they dictate the pace, and they don't have a crazy attack. So what they do is they wait for you to make a mistake and they counter. Mm-hmm. That's an element of soccer that I think U.S. sports fans aren't used to. It's like rooting for a triple option team for picking your spots to break one off here. It's not something we think about. Right. We emphasize 5-star athletes and big recruits and looking good, doing all the workouts. Spain's not about that. Spain is about, this is our plan, this is our philosophy, and we're going to force you into deep waters and play our style of fight.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, you kept bringing it up yesterday. You wanted to see how the backups for France would do in a tournament like this. It felt like I was watching the third or fourth string French guys last night or yesterday afternoon, man. That was, it was rough. It was, look, it's great about a single elimination tournament when we get into the knockout rounds. All it takes is one game, but sure. that was a France team that I have not seen this entire World Cup. And yeah, we know Spain is very good defensively, and that's where they thrive. But man, it was all Spain in that game, and France looked completely lost.
Yeah, we'll find out. Do they exhale? Right? Do they take their foot off the gas because they finally got over the hump with taking down France? Well, we'll see what England and Argentina have to say about their side of things a little bit later on in the show. It's a numbers game. Stay with us here.
You're here because you want an edge. That's what separates listeners from winners. But let's be real, mindset alone doesn't get bets home. Pros win because they've got the tools, the data, and the discipline. And now so can you. beIN Pro gives you access to the same real-time insights the sharps use. No secrets, no fluff, just actionable info that moves markets. Tap the link and see why serious bettors are turning knowledge into profit with beIN Pro.
A numbers game on beIN, the sports betting network.
Welcome to Wednesday. It is a numbers game. I'm Dustin Swedelson. That is Kelley Bydlon. Tweet the show at beIN Live, at Dustin Swedelson, at Kelley Bydlon. Look, we get tweets. We're not going to read the tweets just yet. What we're going to do here is prompt you with a couple things as we get going. First off, I want to know about the Heisman because I'm going to make the case a little bit later. We have an ACC Media Days going down right now. There's a player where I see a difference in the number at one shop. It might be the one I'm sitting at right now versus some others. But I think when we talk situation, when we talk talent and player, we talk about track record for both the player and the system he's in. Feels like a no-brainer to have a ticket on for the Heisman Trophy. You tell me, who's your favorite early Heisman bet right now? I'm going to convince Kelley the one that I want to throw up on the board a little bit later on in the program. Couple things we threw out on social media yesterday.
Yeah, you got multiple questions up.
Yeah.
At Dustin Swedelson.
Yeah, the first and foremost here, my friend, is we got to figure out what the American League side of our exact is going to be. We're going to make the case later on why I love the Philadelphia Phillies to win the National League. There's just a lot about them that leads me to believe they're built for October baseball versus being built for the regular season. And I think this is something that we can take from league to league. Mm-hmm. I think there's NFL teams that are better for the postseason than they are than the regular season. And more specifically, the NBA, where most teams that you see succeed in the playoffs, they don't care about the regular season. And I actually have a take on best record in Major League Baseball because of that later on in the show. But you need to tell us, American League side of things, it is wide freaking open. We're trying to create an exacta where the Phillies are the NL side because you can't do the Dodgers at such a short price here. I want a plus price on Philly. Who in the AL is part of our exacta? And then finally, I normally do the night show here. I know it's been a minute since that's occurred, but don't worry, it's coming back. I'm thinking about breakfast more because I'm up early. And I started thinking on my way in, breakfast, it's like Mexican food. It's the same ingredients repurposed in a bunch of different ways.
All right.
But what's the best way to consume that breakfast? It's egg, it's meat, it's carb.
Well, you're mainly talking eggs. Yeah, you're talking salty breakfast.
Well,
then there's sweet breakfast.
No, that's
pancakes.
No, that's for children.
Yeah, I'm with you. And dessert.
If you eat pancakes for breakfast,
give me a waffle for dessert.
One, you're soft. 2, you're 6. Those are the only two reasonable explanations for putting maple syrup on your breakfast,
man.
okay? But I want to know, eggs, carb, meat, is it better as a plate? Is it better as a sandwich? Or is it better as a burrito?
Yeah, this is an easy answer for me.
The poll is up at Dustin Swedelson if you want to vote in it right now. These are the important, hard-hitting questions we ask when Gil Alexander is out.
Can I answer now?
Yes.
Or do you? Okay. Fried egg, American cheese, bacon, everything bagel toasted. Boom. That might be my favorite just overall sandwich, period.
You know what? There's a case to be made.
Yeah.
But that's a very specific New York sandwich. The rest of the country doesn't do it well.
You got to find the right spot. It's one of those, like for the most part, you're right, but there's
New York,
always
New Jersey,
one
yeah.
spot everywhere in every town you live in.
Yeah, as I get older, I'm kind of leaning towards the burrito, but like the nostalgia for me is I don't do bagel though. I do it on a hard roll.
Who's the, where did I just have a good one? There's a bagel spot at Fountain Blue. You always make fun of me for Fountain Blue. Bagel spot at Fountain Blue.
Kelley's
Great
the
bagel
only person
sandwich.
who goes to Fountain Blue. No one else is ever at the Fountain Blue. No one is wasting their time dealing with that area, which is so out of the way.
I'm hanging out there with Brian Ortega.
Is that what you're doing
Yeah,
these
you
days?
know he works there now?
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's like a head butler or something.
Nope.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Oh, so you're getting the hookup. That's why you're over
No,
there.
no. I just ran into him a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
We had this conversation. I haven't seen him there once actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like working like fancy high
Oh,
upstairs.
he's an exec.
Yeah, he's like I don't know. He's like taking care of high rollers.
Okay. Well, if we hit a big outright on the British Open, we'll be high rollers as well. It's time to go country clubbing. It hits.
It does, right? That's why we got the glow sticks. From Ben's family.
Hey, look, I'm looking at those dudes. If that night's if they're gonna keep smiling, there's gonna be some blue pills in their future because those guys probably have to consult with 3 or 4 doctors before they're allowed to consume alcohol.
That's where that video is. That's where we got it from. It was left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a
some
Viagra
medication
ad.
commercial. Yeah.
If it lasts more than 4 hours, call your doctor. Okay, boys. Okay, all right. British Open is here, and
It will last more than 4 hours, so don't call your doctor.
British Open gets started like 2 a.m. our time?
No. Like 10:30 p.m. tonight,
10:30
I believe, is our first tee time, and 8:30 a.m. tomorrow is the last tee time. So it is.
So we will be
golf.
coming on the air, and there will be golf actually wrapping up for the day or over in jolly old England.
Oh, we'll have guys that are just starting because
That's crazy.
it's daylight for 20 hours, so they use the whole day.
Well, here's what I'm looking at, Kelley, because Scotty Scheffler. The numbers are crazy when you look across the board, like different book, different shop. We have DraftKings odds up here right now at plus 680. Scotty Scheffler is your favorite. It makes all the sense in the world. It's a value play, but it feels like they're trying to dare us, right? I mean, I failed dare class, if we're going to be fair about what I pledged to dare in 6th grade at the end. I definitely didn't abide by all of those rules and regulations, but the dare from the books is Scotty Scheffler, you're never going to get a better number than this. Plus 178 top 5. I'm seeing circa where we sit right now, plus 810 outright. DraftKings that's plus 680. I mean, at plus 810, it almost feels like a principal play that I have to consider that.
Yeah, I think for Scheffler and Rory, they're actually similar conversations. I can't talk you off either one of them. You can, for Scheffler, you can argue the price forever. I mean, I can tell you how statistically his season, for hours, I can tell you statistically how his season is just a little bit worse than it's been the past couple years. But guess what? He's still having about the best statistical season on the PGA Tour. And yeah, you have not seen this kind of price on him in a very, very, very long time. So I can't talk you off him. I can't talk you off Rory, who almost won last week. And if he didn't mess around on Saturday in that 3rd round over at the Scottish Open, probably would have won that event. And if he did, he would have been entering this Open Championship probably as the favorite. So both of those guys, I didn't end up betting either one of them, Dustin. I considered Rory heavily, but I can't argue either one. And especially, I'll bring it up because I use this on one of my outrights. For the majors, you get a lot of these shops that are offering you boosts or profit bonuses or whatever, all that stuff. Make sure to use it. Hey, check them out. If you're going to be betting golf this week, go check out your shops that might be offering that stuff because you can take if you can take a Rory from an 8.5 to 1 to over 10 to 1, that's great.
Absolutely. What are we looking for as far as types of golfers here? Because it's a links course, firm fairways, unpredictable bounces. We'll have weather. We'll have wind. We'll have a lot of different ways that you can attack this. when I dove into this, it's less about distance. I need accuracy. I need strokes gained. I need strong scrambling, creative shot making. I need guys who can strike it well. And most importantly, I need patience, knowing how we're going to deal with all of these bunkers, all of the wind. Mm-hmm. When I list all those attributes, who are a few guys that jump out to you that you're really targeting here?
Yeah, it's look, each one of these courses is slightly different on the open rotation, and this is a course that is set up. I don't want to say a little bit more PGA Tour-esque, but as far as the skills that are required, accuracy off the tee is going to be extremely important this week. And you bring up the weather. Weather we got to talk about because there's really not much weather going on. That's like the biggest point of conversation
but
for the Open Championship.
Wind will still impact it, right?
It's right on the coast. So you're going, it's one of those things I'm going to say that if you're looking at right now at weather forecast, the winds are light, and the rain, there is very little rain in the forecast and none whatsoever the first couple days. If you're watching at home right now, those are the gusts on the bottom and then the average winds on the top. So even those first couple days, right now projections are we're only getting like 16 mile an hour gusts at the most. Now, right on the ocean, we're still over in England. This can change at any moment. That's the one warning that I have for everybody. But it's going to play, and it's affecting the course, Dustin, because they really have gotten very, very little rain over there the past couple months. So this is my preparation for this 3 days ago has been changing ever so slightly as the week's gone on, where there has still been less and less wind and rain in the forecast. The course is getting baked out. So off of the tee, I think it's going to be interesting. The number one challenge for these guys this week off the tee, avoid those bunkers that are in the fairway. That's the number one thing. Distance, we're going to have that argument. We're going to see how much it matters this week as the tournament goes on. There's going to be a lot of guys, though, with how dry it is that are going to be able to take an iron off the tee, and it's going to run out forever with how dried out these grounds are. Now, the other part where I think it really puts an emphasis on another part of the game is on approach. These greens are smaller, and usually for an open, we're going to say around the green play is going to become so important because the wind's going to force shots off of the greens. Now, while we might not see that this week, the greens are so dry, it's going to be hard to hold your approach shots. So even a heavier emphasis on quality approach players, those were the big things for me that kind of changed throughout the week that I think you need to emphasize even more. And when we talk about those second shot guys, who are the best in the world, getting back to the question you asked me 3 minutes ago, probably. Scotty Scheffler's the best. You know who else is really good? Collin Morikawa, one of the best approach players on the planet. Tommy Fleetwood, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Sam Burns actually coming in very, very good approach form.
All right, we'll do more on this later on in the program. Kelley's best bets for the British Open. No shortage of betting opportunities, though, right now. We've got baseball. We still have the World Cup. Plenty of golf. Now's the time to lock in VSiN's football special for just $175. You'll get everything we do over at VSiN.com. Just head there. VSiN.com/subscribe. Who's the tougher matchups for Spain in the World Cup final? We'll dissect it next on A Numbers Game.
A Numbers Game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Dustin Swedelson in for Gil Alexander all week long on A Numbers Game. That's Kelley Bydlon. Thanks for hanging out with us. Sirius XM Channel 158, YouTube TV, the VSiN Watch app, and radio affiliates across the United States of God bless America. We keep saying it's supposedly the slowest time of the sports calendar. However, the World Cup is bailing us out.
Oh, it's been huge. It's been awesome.
The World Cup has done what it needed to do. The intentions in America, in North America, was, I think, in large part to hook the American sports fan. Is this the year we care more? I feel like we do care more. We'll get that tested in 4 years when it's somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But as of right now, soccer and where it stands in our zeitgeist is at an all-time high. And to help us break down where we're at in the World Cup, we went from 48 countries. We are down to 3, and a trip to the championship matchup is on the line later today with Argentina and England. More on that in just a moment. We'll look back first as Christopher Sullivan's going to join us. Former World Cup U.S. men's national team forward, broadcaster for beIN Sports. This is his 6th straight World Cup that he's covering for beIN Sports. And you can find him on X at Sullivan Football. Christopher, thank you for the time. Thank you for everything you've been doing here. You've been killing it with all the spots on the network. And I want to begin with yesterday because I kept saying France was inevitable. And maybe that's just me being a soccer noob and not understanding what team play is like, because when I watched Spain, I was blown away at just the way they're a cohesive unit, because from my eye, as someone who's just watching this for the first time, the French had more athletes. The French had more goal scorers. That was completely irrelevant. What was your takeaway from Spain's 2-0 victory to advance to the final?
Well, I think you were with everyone else. Great to be with both of you. And I think you guys are going to have jobs for another 10 years, because we're going to go from probably 48 countries to 64 in that next World Cup in Morocco, Spain, and Portugal. So it's great for the bettors, and it's great for guys like yourself that are falling in love with the beautiful game. No, I was right with you. In fact, 4 months ago, I put an early bet. 100 would have gotten you 600 on France, and that came down to plus 134. That tells you how heavy of a favorite France was. And, aesthetically, from the eye, they were different. If you go, any of the purists that, like, I fell in love with France back in the 80s with Platini, Jerez, Tigana, Fernandez, a midfield, beautiful midfield generation under Henri Michel. And then you had in 1998 with Thierry Henry and Zidane and Marcel Desailly, who was working with me, Patrick Vieira, Robert Pires, that great generation. And this France version, I was saying going into this match, guys, that it's one of the most beautiful modern teams that I've seen play, because they're a little different than that Vicente del Bosque passing 2010, 2008 Spanish team that was revolutionized under Pep Guardiola that was playing in Barcelona. One of the most phenomenal teams that we've seen from the Dutch in the 70s, from the Hungarians, the Aranycsapat, the golden team from the Hungarian generation in the 50s with Puskás, Tibor, Hirakoti, Kosic. So this was really a team that you're saying, wow, young kids, that I coach in my club. I have 600 kids in the club, fall in love with Desiree Doué and Mbappé and players like Dembélé and Olise. And then you have players on the bench that are phenomenal. Barcola, you had you can go to any corner in Paris and get 4 national teams that could get you to the quarterfinals or 7 semifinals. But what we saw yesterday was an absolute masterclass in Spanish football at its best. In fact, this morning when I got up early to jump on with you, I was thinking this is one of the best performances that I've seen, a masterclass of football since 2011, when Guardiola's Barcelona with Messi and Xavi and Iniesta and David Villa that played at Wembley against that great late generation of Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson. And I was there covering that match at Fox. This is the best team performance, collective performance that I've seen in a major, massive competition. So hats off to Spain. And interesting, guys, because this segues into how I played this. Early I took the money line with France, and I can't remember what it was. Like, I think it was France plus, they were both plus money.
Yeah. I
think that Spain was plus 225, somewhere around there, plus 200 plus. And then France was, I want to say like plus 134. And then at halftime, when it was 1-0, I'm watching the match and I said, there's not going to be a response. Like Spain, I've seen Spain when they can, just take over and dominate in the football. So watching the first few minutes and at halftime, I actually hedged and took Spain minus 130, maybe like minus 130, 140. And then very quickly, I took another, I was talking to a family member and they go, well, maybe France comes back. I said, no, this is closed. They're going to, I can tell when they're on it. And I put another Spain. And of course, this was for a hedge.
Yeah.
And right after that 1 minute, it was like minus 150. Spain scored. And then it was, you could tell, and then they scored again. It was called back. And those numbers went to like minus 800 for Spain. So I was able to cover with a hedge. So it's an interesting game when you get into the only reason why I bring that up is when you look at Argentina and England, it's going to be so close. You have to be fluid and flexible in these kind of bets here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Christopher, let's jump ahead right ahead to the second semifinal that we have here today at noon Pacific, 3:00 Eastern time. Three-way line: England plus 175, the draws plus 185, Argentina 2-1. Are you surprised at all that England was the favorite in this game, or are you surprised that this line is kind of coming back closer to even on both sides?
Well said. In setting me up here, I think, it's really a head scratcher and a flip of a coin. But I think part of it is the inability for Argentina in the last two matches to command the matches that they have, early days and in other big matches that they played before. We're also seeing that the recuperation of a 39-year-old Messi, who just turned 39, is showing a little bit of his effects. That, he's always been able to, we talk about the greatest athletes in the game, Maradona, Pelé, Michael Jordan, Steph Curry in basketball, to that late stages in a match could do things that are kind of unheard of, right? And are otherworldly. And we saw in the last two matches that Messi didn't really have that command and his other supporting cast had to come in. I had talked about the other day in a broadcast that you're going to see the ace up the sleeve of Julian Alvarez and Lautaro Martinez starting to come good. They came good late. Also, 12 of the 13 goals for England are scored from Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane. And so you look at the defensive vulnerabilities of England, but England has kind of the upper hand when you look at how they would match. Although I'm kind of leaning, it's slight favorite. I think it's plus 170 for England, and the draw is plus 190. And I think what's interesting here is that England, the draw, Argentina is good enough to get a draw. Mm-hmm. And they're also good enough that if they go down a goal, that they could equalize against England. It's not unfathomable that they won't concede when they're up. I think part of that Mexico great performance was more about doing it in the altitude, and nobody had done that since 2013. But it was also Mexico's inability. Argentina is a step further, an echelon above, we'll say, Vasco Aguirre's team in Mexico. So I think that this is very much a pick'em. And so, guys, I'm just going to put this out there, and this is not with much bravado or anything, but what I did is as soon as the match was played, I would say for the viewers, is that Spain to win the World Cup is minus 156 without knowing who's going to win. I took a big bet there yesterday. Okay. Because I think whoever wins this match, that Spain's going to go up to minus 200 plus. And so you're actually getting more bang for your buck. If it's Argentina, I think if England goes through, which they very much can, I think that Spain could handle them quite comfortably in the final, because it'll be hard for England to get on the ball. You saw how good France is, and that was a different level across the board, comprehensively, every facet of the game. That was complete domination. That was a total art masterclass that you saw yesterday with Spain. Now, if Argentina plays Spain in the final, that's a different proposition. A lot of those players, including Messi, have played in La Liga. They're a little more competitive. They got a little more grinta. They got a little more gara. So that's how I would play going into here. And I would take a lighter amount on maybe a draw, and then keep the fluidity that if you see England get up ahead or Argentina, and then you want to play a winner off that, leave yourself some room to make an additional bet to either hedge or to add to that, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. Christopher Sullivan doing a tremendous job here, former men's national team player here in the U.S., broadcaster for beIN Network, at Sullivan Football. You can find him on X. Thanks for doing this today, man. We've really enjoyed it. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of the beautiful game, getting into it. The analysis is top-notch. Appreciate the time as always, and good luck with all the bets.
My pleasure. You guys are the best. We'll talk to you soon.
Awesome stuff from Christopher there. Yeah, it's Spain versus both these teams is fascinating because Spain is a cohesive unit. England and Argentina, it feels like they rely on individuals more. Mm-hmm. Kind of feels like the miracle on ice with the way they played the USSR, the Soviet Union back in the day. All right, a little bit baseball when we return. There's a team out there 15-1 to have the best record. I'll explain why they're a good play using NBA strategy. That's next.
Ooh.
A numbers game on beIN, the sports betting network.
We got the meets on a Wednesday. Welcome back into a numbers game. Dustin, Swedelson, Kelley, Bydlon with you here. And we do get tweets. I don't know if you know this.
We get tweets.
We get tweets at beIN Live, at Dustin Swedelson, at Kelley Bydlon. Very creative with the Twitter handles here. So we threw out there, we're looking for one end, an American League end of our World Series exacto. We've got Philadelphia locked in around 7-1. Ask people on social media. You can chime in at VSiN Live, Dustin, Swedelson, Kelley, Bydlon. So Dan Fuller writes in, and remember, we asked who's going to be the American League side. He says Rays and Brewers. Dan, you failed the assignment.
Yes.
That's not
with the Phillies.
We don't want
American
your
League
exacta. We want you to bring one half of our exacta to the table. Let's see. Ryan M writes in, O's Phillies 1983 rematch. Hold on. As someone who has lost a lot of money believing the Orioles were going to turn it around over and over again this year, I imagine the payout's pretty sweet for them to win the American League.
Oh, yeah. So if you believed in this for whatever reason, Dustin, if you actually believed in this, I'm all on board because I've already got Orioles bets from before the season. So,
in fact, I'm so stupid about the Baltimore Orioles. I think I have 30-1 to win the World Series preseason, 25-1 to win the AL during the season. Only about
how's my over 85.5 wins and the O's to win the AL East at sweet 420 plus 420, man.
Good number.
Good number.
Congratulations for that.
Thanks, man.
That's probably all you'll get out
almost
of that.
Like you're 69-1.
Yeah, exactly. The Orioles 33-1 to win the AL combined with the Phillies and an exacta gives you 271-1. It's like, you want to put $5 on that? I mean,
what are those to make the playoffs right now? I guess that's a better question. That's where I need to start.
Yeah, that's probably a good one.
But I'll look it up.
Baltimore's only, I believe, 2 games back of the American League wild card, though.
We are Orioles 4-1 to make the playoffs.
4-1 to make the playoffs. Yeah.
Okay.
If they make a move for a pitcher, they can do this. I don't know who that pitcher is. I'd love for them to be in on Tarek Skubal. I don't believe that's going to happen. They are the team that should, because they have new ownership from a few years ago. They want to spend money. They can't attract free agents. The best way to get Skubal is to trade for him and say, all right, what's it going to take to not leave?
Yep.
That's it. A team like Baltimore needs to make a move like that. And oh, by the way, they have so many prospects from the decade of tanking that they did between runs here. And they're kind of redundant in the players that they have. They have so many of the similar type dudes in their system. They can afford to give up a couple of them in a deal for a starting pitcher, but I don't think it's going to be Baltimore. I like where your head's at. Brian M writes in, and I think this one makes sense. I don't know if I'm going to get there because a year ago at this time, I was all about the Seattle Mariners. They're the second shot in the American League at plus 375. You want to take the Mariners, pair it on the other side in exacta with the Philadelphia Phillies. We are looking at a ticket that pays out 37-1. That feels good. That feels right.
Yeah. I'm just staring at the board right now, man. I don't want to play the Rays. I don't believe in this Rays magic.
This is the problem, and I
don't want to play the Guardians.
Of course not.
I don't want to play the White Sox.
Yeah, this is the point of the exercise.
You're right. Yeah. So I'm going to be a little picky here.
I think you should be.
Look, can we have the Skubal conversation real quick? Just the idiotics. Where are you at with this?
Okay.
Like, is this still in play? Like the Skubal trade?
So I go on with Patrick Maher, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Great hair.
And it's embarrassing that at his age, his hair looks like that, and at my age, my hair looks like this. We have like a 6-year gap between us.
You got to stop twirling it.
I got to stop having anxiety probably first. Let's go with the cause, not the effect. Okay. Let's get down to the source here, which is the anxiety. But I was on with him last night, and he is shouting from the rooftops as a Tiger fan that the fans are nuts. The fans want them to keep Skubal. Mm-hmm. They think the loyalty will convince him to stay. He's been out on Skubal since last year when he came out of that playoff game against the Mariners on the road. He's like, dude, his heart's not in it. He's worried about his contract. He's worried about his money. He wasn't willing to lay it all on the line. And I get where he's coming from. So since then, he's been off the Skubal thing. And he says, trade him. And when you look at what you can get for Skubal, he is by far the best pitcher in the market. He's probably the best pitcher we've seen become available in a few years. You could, if you're the Tigers, get so much in return. But everything we're pointing out about the American League is why they're considering not doing it.
Yeah.
It is open. They've been on a run. For once, their offense is actually clicking. If they get Skubal back to his old form post-All-Star break, combined with Framber Valdez, Casey Mize has been way better than expected. I believe Jackson Jobe may return at some, it might be next year. Either way, they have plenty of arms there with Melton and all these other guys that have been really good for them. I think the Tigers are the team that I'm considering as a value play. They are 30-1 to win the American League pennant. If you want to put them with the Phillies from one side to the other, it pays out 199-1. So you're looking at 200-1 on an upside play of the Tigers. And the Tigers are the same reason why I like the Phillies in the National League.
I mean, the real quick, Detroit only, this is where they're almost in a tough position, like the worst position they could have been in from before the season, right? You're only 6.5 back in the division, right? Like you kind of thought you'd either be at the top of the division or way further back and make this decision way easier.
6.5 back when the Guardians still don't have Jose Ramirez and their pitching has depth, but it doesn't have that frontline ace you're looking for, right? That has to play a role here. Chicago doesn't have the staying power with the starting rotation. I'm sorry. I love Davis Martin. I like Sean Burke. I think these are very formidable guys. But late in the year, I think that's where a lot of these young pitchers who don't have a lot of mileage on their arms, they're not used to pitching this much in these types of meaningful games. I don't think that they're going to stay where they are. If you're going upside, the Tigers are the upside play.
Yeah, and just real quick, Detroit does have the second best run differential in the division, only behind Chicago, and the fourth best in the American League.
Yeah, because they're hitting. It's something that we didn't really anticipate. You know, from the last couple of years, the offense has been eh. This year, you got McConaughey, the all-star rookie shortstop, the favorite to win that award, in the leadoff spot, and he's really transformed the rest of the lineup. You're getting, you know, an all-star year in a Riley Green. Kerry Carpenter still hits for plenty of power. Like, Torkelson's fine. He's a little overrated, but he's fine. There are bats now for Detroit that you can rely on more than years past. If you want to go long shot, the Tigers are my play. If you want to be super square and go Yankees, I get that too. But keep in mind, you bet the Yankees at plus 230, and Aaron Judge, who's going to get more imaging done, and it doesn't sound like they're very optimistic about how that imaging is going to look. If Aaron Judge isn't playing baseball, the Yankees cannot, will not, in no way, shape, or form win the American League pennant. So your bet right now at plus 230 is assuming Judge is healthy.
Right.
You have no evidence of that.
Yeah.
But I don't mind being risky, being frisky, and taking that pick. But you have to understand, you're dead in the water if Judge is out.
Man, that's where the number's not good enough right now.
It's not.
You're absolutely right. It's baking in Judge coming back, and I'm with you. I'm not interested in that.
So as far as this goes,
I would roll with the Tigers.
I would go with the Tigers or the Mariners.
Do a longer shot. Yeah, I'm with you on the Mariners. Like, as far as the teams at the top, they're still the team I believe in the most right now. Right now is with how the teams are currently constructed. And if we're talking about numbers down or odds down the stretch of the season, yeah, them close to 5-1 has me more intrigued than the Yankees at half that number.
Now, you said you want no part of the Rays. I agree with that. But I have another bet where I think people need to consider the Rays, and I'm considering the Rays because they're the number 2 shot in this market to win the American League pennant. They are the best record. They're the 1 seed in the American League right now. Does this not feel like the Detroit Pistons? Does this not feel like a team, based on the talent of the roster, has to put the pedal to the metal all the way down to the floor, go all out to win the regular season? And I think that the regular season matters more for them. We even saw last year, the Dodgers. Dodgers scuffled late. They had issues down the stretch. That's why they ballooned up to around 7-1, 6-1. I got 5-1 right before the postseason began. They were not your 1 seed. People forget that. The Dodgers were not the top seed in all of baseball, let alone not even in the National League. The Brewers are 4-1 to have the best record in baseball. I understand that. I've been a Brewer backer for 3-4 years now at super large tickets. At this point, I'm not willing to get in. And also, I think because the Brewers have gone all out in the regular season, they need to focus on the postseason. The Braves, I'm not sure the pitching is there. I'm not sure the health stays the way they want it to go. I'm not sure they will end up with the best record in the regular season, which brings me to the Rays at 15-1. I'm looking at Tampa, third easiest schedule in baseball the rest of the way. Yep. They don't face the Dodgers. They have 6 with the A's. They have 3 with the Mets. They have 6 with Toronto and Baltimore combined. And what do they have up their sleeve as a front office? They always make moves. They find value. They take guys that other teams maybe are giving up on, and they turn them into something. Griffin Jax is a legitimate good starter in baseball. He's been a reliever his entire career up until this season with Tampa Bay. They could probably find an undervalued arm, an undervalued bat or two, combine it with this lineup. But I think more importantly, they don't have the luxury these other teams have that are more talented to like rest up, cruise into the playoffs, take their foot off the gas. They have to go all the way out. They want to be the 1 seed. They want that bye.
Right.
It behooves them with their situation. I think Tampa 15-1 is the look here for most wins in the regular season.
Okay, I like it. I think you could make a case for the Brewers too, with how close they are in the standings to the Dodgers, just for a number play.
Oh, I get it. But if Mizorowski has the arm fatigue and they manage him, and then Woodruff has him pitching, they have to make a trade. Hey, the sports calendar never stops. Sharp Plays, they cover it all. They've been winning for 15 straight years. All of it documented. Logs posted publicly at sharpplays.com. Respected, watched, feared. Start winning with them at sharpplays.com today. Is this player worth looking at for NBA Rookie of the Year? He's going off in the Summer League. We'll talk about it next on A Numbers Game.